Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Delta.app One Hub Racing here for the final race on the F1 25 base game. My name is, of course, Mike, and I was going to be taking you through the action, and joining alongside me in the commentary box is Colin Mason. And Colin, we are here for what will wrap up a fantastic season in One Hub. We're here for the All-Star race.
Yeah, isn't it brilliant? So yeah, like you said, got 2 nights of racing left on this game before we transfer to the F1 26 DLC, and we're racing round probably one of the favourite circuits on the calendar. It is, of course, Belgium in Spa.
Yeah, an absolute iconic circuit, and it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers are going to get along out there, because obviously ERS is going to be so crucial to keep an eye on. And down that long straight, down the Kemmel straight, you're going to be burning a lot of ERS. Down the run in towards the bus stop chicane, you're going to be burning a lot of ERS. ERS management is going to be so crucial for all of these drivers.
Yeah, it is, without a shadow of a doubt. And of course, staying in that DRS train as that's going to be key for the drivers as well. But we got such a mixed grid, Mike. We've got drivers from P4 all the way through to P1. So there's going to be a lot of fighting. It's going to be a lot of fun racing to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we got some fantastic drivers from the top tier, some fantastic drivers from the lowest tier. And they're all going to get the opportunity to go head-to-head on the track. Of course, you and Jess went through the format, of course, yesterday, I believe, on the season review show. But would you like to run through the format again for the viewers?
Yes, so this is going to work quite a bit different to a normal One Hub race. So tonight, we're going to be doing 3 25% qualifying heats. So they are races, 11 laps each. Race 1, the order is going to be based on the ranking position. So wherever you finished in the rankings, that's going to be where you finish. So Jacob was top, so he'll be starting on pole. In second place, in race 2, it's the fastest lap from race 1. So whichever the person with the fastest lap in race 1 will be on pole. In race 3, it's a reverse top 10. Now, points will be awarded across all these 3 races, and the top drivers will be advancing to tomorrow night's grand finale.
Yeah, and of course, tomorrow night we will find out who will be the one that takes the victory in the All-Star race. But tonight, it is all about making sure that your name is well and truly within the hat. And as you mentioned, there's some big names here from the top tiers, and surely they've got to be the favourites and are going through to tomorrow. Of course, I believe in terms of the P1 drivers, we've got a collection of P1 veterans here tonight.
Yeah, we certainly have. So we got Craggy, we got Marco, we got Senna, we got Alex, we got Arnard. We've also got J. Cole, who'll be joining the lobby very soon, and of course the Welsh wizard himself, Callum and Arm.
Yeah, indeed, and of course they're going to be drivers to keep an eye on. That is for sure. Of course, the P1 drivers are going to be the guys that you should be looking at as potentially going through. But on top of that, you got some big names from P2 who can maybe get themselves in the mix as well. Looking at the likes of Kinney and of course Josh, who of course came in at Japan and had a stellar season and got himself well up the order in P2. So there's going to be opportunities there, and I don't think the P1 drivers, if they have a small lapse in judgment, they could end up missing out.
Yes, and they've got to negotiate the in inverted commas slower drivers. They're going to be quicker than some of them, but they're going to have to be careful because they're not going to be braking where they expect them to be braking. They're not going to be as quick out of the corners. Certainly with the P4 drivers, the P2 drivers, I think they could cause quite some upsets tonight, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the P3 and P4 drivers, well, realistically, we probably wouldn't expect them in the top 8 in consistency over the course of the 3 races. But you never know with some of the drivers from P3, especially because consistency is the aim of the game. And probably the P3 drivers we got in are probably some of the most consistent P3 drivers that there was over the course of the season.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, definitely. Especially the likes of, like you got Jamie, obviously our P4 champion, very, very consistent. Oaken was quite consistent. Bony Fish, very, very consistent. Let's see how they get on this evening. I can't wait for this. This is such a mixed up grid, and this is what I love about the All-Star event. And a big, massive thank you to our American friend Cam, who does all this organizing. He comes up with a format, does all the rankings every single season, and I love this event. And if I can't race in it, I will always commentate on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go through anything else, let's run through our sponsors and partners here at Delta.app, One Hub Racing. Of course, our title sponsor at Delta.app. Over 18s only make investments like the smartest investors in the world. Track all your investments to success with Delta. And of course, use !Delta in the Twitch chat. And you look in the description on YouTube if you are watching this back on YouTube. Of course, Next Level Racing. And of course, a big one because there is a new graphic for it. Obviously, we got the...
There you go.
Sim Racing setups, which of course already have the F1 26 setups and strategy packs, which you can pre-order 10% off if you use code OneHubRacing at the checkout. And of course, they've been some fantastic setups from Sim Racing setups over the course of the season that have been used by drivers throughout the field. And going into the new season, get your setups from Sim Racing setups.
Yes, and J. Cole, being an Arsenal fan, will hope that he's going to perform better tonight than Arsenal, who have just lost the Champions League final on penalties to PSG, for anyone not aware. And as a Spurs fan, all I'll say is unlucky.
And as a United fan, I'll just say heritage. Right, Pure Sim, yeah. Of course, if you use code OHR10P at the checkout, you can get yourself 10% off. Of course, our partner at Vespertine, who of course support our official apparel, and of course our charity, the Mental Health Foundation. Well, I mean, we all know it is the All-Star event. We all know it's going to be around Belgium. It's going to be incredibly interesting because all these drivers, I think, unless they were practicing throughout the entire time, because I think J. Cole might have been watching the Champions League, they're going to be going into this race pretty cold.
Yes, I'm curious to know how many of these drivers would have done a bit of practice. Would they have not bothered? Would they have had time, etc., etc.? So it's going to be interesting to see who is on the ball straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we are still waiting for, I believe, we are waiting for a J. Cole, I think, is the last one that we are waiting for. And I think he's fuming about what's happening in the football, as you would expect. But, as they say at the start of the season, let it all work out.
Yes, that's it. J. Cole actually had a very respectful season in P1. Not his best season results-wise, but performances, he did have a great season, in my opinion. Getting lots of his favourite positions seemed to be 7th. He had that on numerous occasions. Can he do better than that tonight? Can he get a podium?
Well, that's going to be the interesting thing. Of course, J. Cole, as you mentioned, didn't have the best of seasons throughout the course of P1. So he's going to be starting down towards the back of the field. A lot of drivers that would be considered the slower drivers to come through. He's going to have to keep his nose very clean. And obviously, there's some other drivers that are going to have to come through the field very cautiously as well, with some of the quicker drivers from the lower tiers that have done well in the rankings. They're going to be placed further out the field. So there's going to be an interesting dynamic with the faster drivers trying to come through the field.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, you know. And of course, it's a 25% race, so if you make a mistake, or you damage your wing or something like that, you haven't got long to recover, you know. So you really can't afford any mistakes tonight. The drivers are going to have to be on top form, and we'll see how they get on. I'm just trying to see now. I don't think we've got... No, so we haven't got Jacob. So that means Alex will start in pole position. But on the front row alongside him, Mike, will be Jamie. So that's, he's going to be in the dizzy heights with quite a few P1 drivers behind him.
Yeah, Jamie is going to be in lofty heights early on. And he's going to hope that he can just survive the early phases while he's got some of the quicker drivers hounding him from behind. And then he's just going to hope that he can just stay with the guys at the front, because DRS is still very, very good around this circuit. Of course, in the middle sector, that's where you're going to see the likes of the P1 and P2 drivers gain their time over the P3 and P4 drivers.
Yeah, definitely that. Right, so I've just found the grid, Mike, so I will quickly buzz us through the grid before we get going. So, in pole position is Alex. In second, we've got Jamie. Third place is Marco. In fourth place is Kinney. Then it's Bony Fish. Then Adagio. Then it's Joel. Mertz then is next. Then Ocon. Then Josh. Then Jessica. Then Craggy. Then it's Callum. Then we got Curly, Nightclear, Cam, J. Cole, Jason, and Arnaud and Senna will be on the back row of the grid.
Yeah, that's a very interesting grid. Of course, Arnold, Senna, of course, two very quick drivers going to be down towards the back of the field, trying to carve their way through. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with, that battle between that we've seen throughout P3 over the course of the season between Bonyfish and Adagio. Because remember, Adagio did have to miss the final race of the season, which, considering the struggles that Bonyfish had in Vegas, he would have had a chance at the Drivers' Championship in P3, but unfortunately he wasn't able to make it. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that rivalry being renewed here tonight.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a bit of a grudge match. I think he's going to want to get one up on his P3 rival without a shadow of a doubt. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the drivers have readied up, and we are about to enter into the race. And of course, 11 laps await the drivers. And honestly, I mean, this race, if you are having a bad first race, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some people just pitting to get fastest lap to have a better start for the next race.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. And of course, I believe it's dynamic weather, Mike. So it could be raining. And also, we do have the formation lap on. So the drivers will get a bit of... they'll have to get some tyre temperature into those tyres on that formation lap. But the first thing, Mike, let's see what the weather's going to be.
I am very interested indeed. Spa is one of those tracks where in the dry is usually a very interesting race. In the wet, however, it can be extremely treacherous. And I remember a few seasons ago, I believe it was season 26, me and you commentating over a last lap victory for the Drivers' Championship around this circuit. So hopefully we are in for another treat here tonight.
Oh yeah, that was incredible, wasn't it? I think that was between J. Luke and Rich 500, I believe. If memory serves me rightly, Jess will be able to correct me on that one. She's got a good memory for things like that.
Yeah, I think it was Rich and Jay Luke, if I remember correctly. But that, of course, went all the way down to the bus stop chicane in the final lap. And
Crazy.
will we see anything like that come the third race, where we have one of the drivers potentially going for a last minute overtake that gets them into that top 8? That's going to be a big, interesting question.
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. Another thing that's going to be a bit interesting, and we can have a look at this on the formation lap, is that unlike normal One Hub, we allow custom liveries. So it'd be nice to see what creations the drivers have come up with, and we can have a little look at that on the formation lap as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see the creative side of our drivers here tonight, and of course, there's. I think Jess said that her livery was inspired by the Toro Rosso, if I remember correctly. I think I saw that somewhere in Discord,
nice.
so we have to have a little look at that.
I'm just looking at the front wings down the grid, and yeah, they're looking quite lively liveries, I must say, which is nice to see.
And you know what, as well, one thing that we also got to mention is, because it is custom cars in this race, everyone has obviously made their own liveries. What we're gonna have as well is people not knowing who their teammates are when they come into the pits, so they could end up following someone in and getting held up in the pit lane.
Oh, that's a very good point that I never thought of, Mike. Yeah, that's a very good point. So there's a bit of love, a bit of luck involved with this. Obviously, the only one who's going to be absolutely certain he's not going to get held up is the guy coming into pits in the lead.
Yeah, 100%. And of course, that is going to be something to keep an eye on, because that can obviously cost a driver a good 5-6 seconds in the pit lane. Because imagine if, for example, you got Arnold directly behind J. Cole and they both come into the pits at the same time. J. Cole, the car ahead, gets pit stop privilege first. Arnold has to wait an extra 5 to 6 minutes. So here we go. Let's have a little look on the formation lap, as we're quickly going to get the tires and everything up. And let's have a look at some of these liveries here.
Yeah, let's have a little look then. So let's wait for this. And J. Cole decides to disqualify himself from the... so he's going to have quite cold tyres. So Senna, I know, has a lovely white and red Polish livery. That looks quite class, to be fair. I do like that. Who else have we got then? So Storm. I do like Storms. That's...
Ocon has got a Ferrari-inspired livery from the looks of it. That looks absolutely fantastic. Looking like an old school Ferrari livery right there. Maybe,
that's cool, yeah. With like the Shell logo on the side almost, isn't it?
Yes. See, Jess saying her car was inspired by Toro Rosso. Let's have a little look. And I can see it. I can see an early Toro Rosso in it. I can see a very early Toro Rosso in it.
Yeah, and Jamie, I think, is gone. If you look at Jamie, that reminds me of the McLaren Gulf Special livery that they did for Monaco, I think 2 or 3 seasons ago. I like that. That's very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Marco's livery is giving me the Rich Energy Haas vibes. The golden black.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just... who's the one then? Somebody had a lovely black and gold one as well. What was that? Almost like a JPS type of style thing. Joel Flats, yeah. That's... that's like a Rich Energy kind of JPS kind of special livery we got. Well, they are, Mike. They are slowly coming up to their grid, and we will be getting race 1 underway very shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. Senna, of course, coming through the bus stop chicane right now, and of course he'll take his final spot. Of course, this is another thing as well. The drivers haven't had to do this all season, so they're gonna have to park up in their pit stop, which could affect them at the start of the race if they get it wrong.
Jamie's got it wrong. He's got disqualified, so he's going to start a metre further back.
As Senna has rejoined the session, hopefully he doesn't disconnect again. But ladies and gentlemen, we are about to get ready for the start of the All-Star race as we go to the 5 red lights. Lights are out and we are underway here. It looks like a very good start from a lot of drivers down towards the back of the field.
Yeah, this, I mean, look.
Oh, contact in the midfield.
Bit of contact on the hit to the gravel as well. But I think we've got away with damage.
Look at this up through Rouge and Radion, Bonifish and Josh side by side as they managed to navigate their way through that absolutely fantastically. Marco's had a good start. He's got the jump on Jamie. Adagio holding P4 right now as we see a big move down the inside from Mert on Adagio. And of course that is the thing with the quicker drivers. They're going to have so much more pace and they're going to feel much more confident in terms of just sending one down the inside because they've got that confidence.
Yeah, exactly that. They're going to have to do it in a way that the other driver coming through, otherwise it could be disaster. But a relatively clean first lap. Senna's made up quite a few positions. Let's have a quick look and see who's made the most. So Bonyfish is down 5. Oaken down 6, so they're our biggest losers. Storm is our biggest winner, up 6 places already.
Yeah, got a P3 rifle in behind in Jess, and looks like Bonyfish has had a bit of a moment as well. He's rejoined right there. So look at that. It's a P3 reunion right there with Storm, Bonyfish, Jess, and Cam all battling out.
Yeah, all trying to fight over that 12th position. But I tell you one thing we got, Mike. We got a huge split in strategies. So it's about 50-50 between drivers starting on softs and drivers starting on the medium tyre. So, we got a pitter already. It's Bonyfish. Bonyfish in the pit lane already. I don't know what that must be for damage, surely.
Possibly as Adagio. And is that Josh that's gone around? Yes, it is. Adagio was making the move on Jamie. I think Josh tried to follow through, and unfortunately for him, had a bit of a moment and has gone around. Unfortunate day for Josh, but still plenty of laps to get back into this. As we've got Craggy now looking to get a move done on Jamie, and of course Jamie is now getting swamped by the quicker drivers.
Yeah, he's keeping his own out there as Craggy attempts down the inside. Jamie leaves him a bit of room, but he holds it on. He keeps the P1 driver behind him. Good driving from Jamie.
Yeah, and he's got Callum and Andy as well. Callum and Craggy side by side. And of course, that's a rivalry that has happened in P1 before in the past as well. As they both funnel through now. J. Cole has rejoined the session, thankfully, as well. But Craggy, he is being a bit of a bottleneck for these P1 drivers here.
He does seem to be, doesn't he? On the subject of Bonyfish, by the way, that looked like a planned strategy, man. He has gone on. He didn't need to change. He had no damage, but he went in and he's on the pound of tyre. So he's going to get clean air and he's going to try and stretch these hard tyres all the way to the end of lap 11.
I mean, he's going to be able to get those hards to the end. That's not going to be an issue at all. I think the issue that Bonyfish is going to have is the fact that at this stage, the mediums and the softs are still quicker than the hards. So he's going to lose time at the back of the field. As you see, Cracky now looking to the outside into the bus stop chicane. Callum and I'm going to follow through around the outside into the bus stop. Ooh. And Jamie has a bit of a moment there. Didn't see any contact on my end, but
no.
Kinney gets through as well.
Yeah, Jamie just a bit too happy on the throttle there, but he collected himself. He's still in the top 10. He does have a time penalty, Mike. That's going to be crucial in an 11-lap short race.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Jamie has Joel behind him, and of course that's a rivalry from P4. But look at this now, Arnold getting in the mix, 3 wide down the Kemmel Straight, and Arnold says, thank you, 2 for 1. I'll have me some of that.
Yeah, that is brilliant. Arnold is having an absolutely awesome race. So let's have a look. So Arnold, listen to this, up 11 places in 3 laps. That's astonishing. Arnold, please tell me you've saved your onboard, because I really want to see that. That looks tremendous. And he's still, you know, he's in the touching points of Craggy and Kinney in 6th and 7th.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, Adagio is the car ahead, and of course, this is a group of P1 drivers that are chasing down Adagio. I do expect that gap to close over the course of the race. So they're essentially trying to get themselves into that battle for P4. I think Alex, Marco, and Mert, obviously P1 drivers in their own right, I think they're going to be able to manage the gap. They got through nice and early, and they've managed to build a gap now to the rest of the field. For Callum and Armed, Craggy, Kinney, of course, P2 driver, and Arnold, it's all going to be about not losing so much time with fighting each other and just dragging themselves up to Adagio in P4.
Yeah, exactly that. And look at our battle for the lead, Mike. Alex versus Marco. This is a P1 grudge match between these two. Marco just losing out on the P1 title to Alex. Alex trying to keep Marco behind him. Marco's going to be so keen to get his own back in this All-Star event.
Yeah, absolutely. But look at the ERS, so Colin, look at the ERS difference between them.
Yeah, it's quite significant, isn't it? So Alex on 60%, Marco down to low 30s. So he is using a lot more ERS. Alex, despite being in the lead, is managing to save some.
And this is the stage where the mediums are now going to be the better tyre. And you can see that now because Mert is now closed up to the back rim. So we're going to get a three-way fight. And Mert involved in this, I mean, we've seen this before where Mert has been involved in a battle between these two.
Oh, yes, we've seen it on numerous occasions. We were saying last stream what an awesome second half to the season Mertz had. And he is showing it again here tonight that he's really got the grips of this game. And he's hunting these two down, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. He's hunting them down. And also being hunted down is Adagio. That gap has come down by a full second. The Craggy, Callum, and Arnold in behind.
Yeah, Adagio is becoming the hunted, but there's what I'm surprised at, Mike, is there's quite a big gap between Craggy and Adagio. I thought that gap would have come down a bit quicker than it has. So Adagio, and the first bottle of the day, unfortunately, goes to poor old Marco, getting that 10-second time penalty in the pit lane. Mike, where on earth's that going to put him in such a short race?
I mean, it's going to be interesting because, of course, he does have half of that gap to the likes of Craggy in behind, and he's going to have an undercut,
yeah,
so he
true.
will be able to gain on that. So I think he'll still be in the top 8 as we got Kinney and Arnold doing battle there. Of course, P1 versus P2 drivers. And look, Arnold having a little look back down the inside, decides to go against it, and just sitting behind Kinney for the time being. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. It depends if he gets caught up in traffic, and he is in traffic. Look at that, he's behind Jamie again.
Yeah, that's not what he wants. Marco would have wanted 100% clear air. Marco now through on Jamie down the inside. Now, what's he got? There's only a second gap, look, to Oaken ahead, so he's still not going to have much clear air for him to pump in the fast lap times to try and get a decent delta ahead of Craggy.
And not only that, you got Storm just ahead as well. And if they both stay out, Storm is going to give Ocon DRS, which might, of course, make it more difficult for Marco to get the job done. But look at this, Marco is just so smooth in the corners, so precise versus Ocon and Storm in front. So you're seeing the level, the confidence level, the skill level between our top tier and the bottom tier right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. But
Alex
as we got Alex in the pit, so Mertz is now our race leader for the time being. Alex, surely he's obviously going to go onto the medium tyres.
Storm had a big moment there as his back end snaps as he was on his way towards the pit lane. Marco was on the inside of him, though. So he had to snap into Marco, and Marco lost a lot of time. And look at that, Alex has managed to come out just ahead of him.
Oh yeah, so despite that undercut, because Marco come out in traffic, he couldn't utilise that pace, but look how close he is. Oh, he's going to have a little look. That's brave. That's brave. Can he get him down now? A brilliant run down the Camel Strike. Alex covers the inside. Can Marco sweep round the outside? Does it before the corner, Mike. Comes to... Oh! And Alex makes slight contact with Marco. Just about gets away with it.
Yeah, Alex into the back of Marco there. Not what Alex would have wanted, but Marco, he's going to be absolutely fuming with the traffic that he had to contend with there, because he just wasn't able to make that undercut work. As you see Alex touching a little bit of the gravel on the exit of Brussels. Actually, sorry, no, through No Name. My apologies there. So we now head in towards the Stavolo section, and of course Marco trying to build the gap, but he's not going to be able to drop Alex out of DRS, I don't think.
No, I don't think he is either. Couple of strange strategy choices going on here, Mike. Cam has gone on to the hard compounder tyre. So has Kinney. So I'm really surprised that they haven't gone on to the softs. Maybe they feel a little bit more comfortable on the hard tyres. We'll see what it's like at the end of the race. Top 3 in the pits, Mike.
Yeah, no, this is going to be very crucial. You see Mert there with the set of the soft compound tyres, and has anyone been held up a double stack at all? I haven't seen a double stack. I'm not sure about you, Cole. So I think everyone might have just got away with it for the first race. But look at that. Mert has come out directly behind Marco and Alex, and he's on fresh softs.
Oh, this is going to be interesting now. So Mert is going to have quite a significant... Oh, look at the fighting going on ahead.
And they got Joel there as well.
Alex down the inside of Marco. Mert says, I'll have a bit of that. Now, can Mert use soft tyres, Mike?
Well, that's going to be the thing now. Of course, Marco, with that 10-second time penalty, he's going to drop down the order. So ideally, he doesn't really want to be fighting tooth and nail. He just wants to not lose as much time as possible. He wants to gain as much. But at this current stage, he is going to drop down the order. Does he allow Mert to go at all? That's going to be the question. As Mert is actually going to say, I'm having some of that. Down the inside he goes. Mert up in a net P2 right now.
Yes, don't forget, Mert and Marco were teammates, so maybe Marco's thinking, right, Mert, you helped me out in the main season. Now I've got my penalty. I'll try and help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. As Mert now, his next target in the front is Alex, and of course you got Senna, who has yet to make a pit stop yet. So Senna will probably be into the pits at the end of this lap. So let's keep an eye on that. But Senna, a full pit stop behind these guys now, fighting for the lead.
Yeah, quite significant that is. But is Senna, now is he going to go for your tactic, Mike? Because what I've noticed is he's got 100% battery. I have a sneaky suspicion that our man Senna is trying to get the fastest lap of the race. He's going to dump all his DRS on one lap, and he's going to try and get pole for race 2.
I mean, it's a definitely a viable strategy. I mean, you saw a lot of the P1 drivers have opted for that kind of strategy as Mert around the outside of Alex gets the job done. They're still side by side between them. Alex, and no, they both had a little spin. Contact made between the pair of them. And Marco is going to go on through. And Bragi now up in the P2. Oh, that has definitely not gone the way Alex and Mert would have wanted. And now, look at this. Adagio, the P3 driver, is in a fantastic spot.
Up in P5, the P3 driver is an absolute barnstorming race. Go on, Adagio, go and show him how to do it. Yeah, net P4. Yeah, absolutely tremendous. And Arnaud, who started near the back, he's up in 4th place, and he's just outside of DRS on Mertz as Storm gets a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, not a great day for Storm. Of course, ahead of some of the P3 rifles, of course, in Bonifish and Cam. But that penalty, I think, does drop him behind both. Yeah, it's going to be a hard race now for Storm. He's going to possibly lose out to all his P3 competitors and even some P4 competitors, which is not ideal for him. Craggy, fastest lap of the race, a 1:43 flat. and Senna. Is he going to beat that?
Well, now I've noticed so Senna across the line with 100% battery. He is now starting to use it. So he's got a decent gap, Mike. He's got a 4-second gap ahead of Kinney. He's not going to get DRS, but he will have a nice, clear track to try and go for this fastest lap. Let's see if he does get it.
Yeah, as Ocon there misjudging it through the source there, so that is not ideal for him, as Jamie, Ocon, Bonnie and Joe and Cam have all got through on Storm now. Storm dropping well down the order. Alex has been overtaken by both Josh and Adagio. So look at this right now. P1, P2, P3.
Oh, look at that. This is going to be absolutely brilliant ending. So we know Marco's got that 10-second time penalty, so that puts him out of it at the minute. But Arnaud, he is fast approaching Mertz here. He is absolutely gunning for it in his absolutely, what I think is probably my favourite livery on the grid, to be honest, is his Belgium flag inspired car livery there. Absolutely brilliant design, I gotta say. Can he get third place? He's all over the back of him. Alex now, he's on the back of Josh. Josh is now on the back of Adagio. So Adagio, he's becoming the hunted now, Mike.
Yeah, and this is what I was just saying just a moment ago. So you got a P3 driver versus a P2 driver versus a P1 driver right now. And not only that, the P1 champion at that.
Exactly that. So what a class of field he's got to deal with. Hello to Seb in the chat. Welcome, mate. Hope you are well. It's poor old Ocon gets another 3-second time penalty. Cam's in the pit lane. So Cam's trying to get his... and Storm. I think they're going to try and get the better grid slot. Oh, look at this!
Down the Kemmel Street. And look at that.
Wow.
Alex gets a double overtake done. Josh gets past Adagio there, taps the back of Alex momentarily, but that is absolutely what we love to see. Fantastic action like that. The P1 champion, a P2 driver, a race winner this season, and of course a championship contender from P3, all battling out 3 wide down the Kemmel Street.
Absolutely brilliant. That's the action of this race so far. Absolutely tremendous, and not a hint of any contact between the 3 drivers either. It's brilliant driving.
Absolutely, as obviously the gaps look like they have spread out a bit now as we about to come on to the final lap of the race. Obviously we got Jess under a bit of pressure from Joel in behind, but Joel of course with that penalty, not really much of a threat, but Bonnie could be looking at that penalty thinking there may be a chance if Jess fights him.
Yeah, exactly that. Now, let's have a look at that gap that Jess has got. So she's about 4 seconds behind J. Cole, but she's probably not going to fight Joel too hard. She's going to know he's got a penalty. So she will probably just keep to a racing line, let Joel overtake him on DRS, and then see if they can be dragged a little bit closer towards J. Cole. But that is an ask. J. Cole, a very quick P1 driver.
Well, I mean, what we got at the moment, of course, let's have a little look at Marco. 10-second time penalty to his name. Right now, he is just going to be in between Adagio and Callum Unarmed at this moment in time. And he may be able to get himself ahead of Adagio. But that doesn't particularly matter in terms of the position for the next race. It's all about the fastest lap that you set in this race that determines the grid for the next race. But it is important in terms of the points accumulated to get yourself into the final tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly that. That's one thing I haven't checked, actually, is the point system for this race. I think it'll probably match the one hub system, so I would say 12th will be fastest lap. I will double check that with our man Cam during the break. But Jamie started near the front, down in 16th, but a respectable performance against this grid. My standout driver. Oh, we got a driver in the wall. Who was that?
That's Callum.
It's Callum on the last lap. Oh.
And he's about to. Oh, here we go. Callum versus J. Cole. There's J. Cole on the curb, and that's J. Cole around Callum, able to carry on there. And look at that. Here comes Joel and Jess, and Jess is going to beat J. Cole.
Oh, J. Cole's not going to be very happy that he managed to get together with Callum. I couldn't really see it from the camera angle I had. We know that Callum's got severe front wing damage, and he will come home in 10th place.
Look at that gap between Marco, Alex, and Adagio.
Oh, look at that. Adagio getting a 5th place. Driver of the day so far for race 1 for me has got to go to Adagio in 5th place. What a drive.
Absolutely fantastic from Adagio. Of course, he just kept it cool, calm, collected, didn't make any mistakes, knew when to fight, when not to fight, knew pretty much what he had to do in that race. And whilst the drivers from the lower tiers were falling down to the back, he just maintained where he was and was able to get himself where he needed to be at the end.
Yeah, exactly that. Right, I have the points system.
Right,
so points will be awarded across all 3 races. So I will go through them during our little break when Cam is doing the grid.
Yes, and right now we are just waiting for the podium celebrations, and we can quickly have a little look. Of course, fastest lap did go to Craggy, so Craggy will be starting from pole position for the next race. Let's run through the order. It is Craggy with the race winner, Arnold in 2nd, Mert in 3rd with Josh in 4th, Adagio 5th, Alex in 6th, Marco 7th with Kinney in 8th, Senna 9th, and Callum running out the top 10. Then we got Jess in 11th, Joel in 12th, Bonnie in 13th, J. Cole 14th, Okan in 15th, Jamie in 16th, Nightclear 17th, Curly 18th, Cam K Mum in 19th, and Storm rounding out the back of the field. And I think Curly going to be starting from the back with a 47.6. A lot of drivers there in the 44s. I was expecting a better lap from Senna with all that ERS, but it's going to be Craggy and Arnold on the front row for the next race.
Yes, so that's going to be the front two. Yeah, I was quite surprised, Mike, as well. I thought that would have been a bit of a quicker lap from Senna. Maybe he made the odd mistake here and there. So Cam's got a monumental task now. He's got to look through all the fastest laps, and he's got to work out who sits where.
Yeah, that's why I quickly made sure that we got everything that we needed there to go through it all. But let's have a little talk about some of the highlights that we saw in that race. Of course, Marco and Alex, renewing their rivalry from P1 this season at the front. And then, of course, Mert getting involved in the action. And then, of course, the big contact between Mert and Alex as Marco, of course, kind of throwing that race away with the 10-second time penalty.
Yes, he obviously would have won it relatively comfortably without that drive-through penalty, or pit lane speed penalty, sorry. So he's going to be gutted with that. Let's see if he can have a bit of a comeback. So don't forget, it's the top 8 out of the 3 races tonight that will advance to tomorrow's final. So, Mike, the points system. Are you ready for this?
Yes, I am.
Points will be awarded across all 3 races. And the point system is 25, 22, 20, 18, 17, 16, all the way down to 1. So as long as you finish, you get a point. So every single position matters crucially in this system. So let's see who's going to be able to cope. So bit of comment from J. Cole, Mike.
Yep.
Steering wheel isn't working in the menus, so he's hoping it isn't the same in the game. So maybe J. Cole had a few wheel issues, unfortunately.
I mean, it's typical for my Arsenal fan to find an excuse, isn't it? It really is. I'm joking. But that is not ideal right there. That is not ideal for J. Cole if the wheel is not operating correctly, and it does explain a lot Hopefully he can get that sorted and that ready for the second race, because of course J. Cole is gonna have to do a absolute huge job in the final 2 races to come back and get himself into that top 8.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do now. There's a couple of drivers there who finished out of position, really. You know, my wish is to try and get as many P2, P3, P4 drivers into that final. At Adagio at the moment, with that 5th place, if he can, do something similar in the next couple of races, he's going to find himself on the cusp of a final, which is an astonishing performance.
Yeah, Adagio was done absolutely fantastic in that first race, and he did fantastic, of course, over the course of the season. Arguably, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, I think over the course of the entire season in P3, Adagio was probably the quickest driver in P3 on raw pace. But of course, he did have races where he'd have an absolute nightmare and fall down the field. But raw pace, I'd say Adagio was probably the quickest from P3. And you see, like, when he doesn't make a mistake, he can stick with some of these quicker guys. He can be thereabouts to capitalize on any mistakes, and that's exactly what he did in that race. Capitalize on mistakes, got himself into a great position. But I do feel that the second race is where things are going to be a little bit trickier for him, because now the quicker drivers are probably going to be already in front of him to start this race, just by naturally having quicker lap times. And he's going to have to try his best to keep up, to not drop as many points, but he is going to have some drivers in behind him as well that may be able to get the better on him. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, exactly that. What he really could do with now is some drivers who didn't have a very good first race have a good second race and take some of the points away from the other drivers. So at the moment, the 8 drivers. Now I know we've only had 1 race, so I'm getting way ahead of myself, but never mind. So the 8 drivers at the minute after race 1 that are going to transform into the final on Sunday is Kinney, Marco, Alex, Adagio, Josh, Mertz, Arnaud, and Craggy. So there's 3 drivers out of the 8 that are not P1 drivers. Now, bearing in mind that we do have, let me have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 P1 drivers. So really speaking, those 8 P1 drivers should, by rights, get into the final. Mike, I bet you £1 it don't work like that.
It never has, and it never will. Of course, it never does work like that. And obviously, I mean, you mentioned, of course, there are 8 P1 drivers here, but when you look at the pace that the P2 drivers in Kinney and Josh have had over the course of the season, they both could have done very well in P1. Like their pace was like thereabouts. So they're the ones I think on pace could potentially put in a challenge with some of these P1 drivers. The bigger surprise is obviously with Adagio getting up there, but of course Adagio, I think he would have done well in P2 himself. So it's interesting. It's all going to be about consistency. We saw in that first race, Callum have a moment. Of course, J. Cole having issues as well. Senna unfortunately wasn't able to get himself where he needed to be, and especially with the fastest lap attempt. I mean, I'm not sure what happened on his fastest lap attempt, but it just did not come together. Marco will be looking at that as a big missed opportunity to get big points on the board early on. Same with Mert, and same with Alex as well.
Yeah, exactly that. Oh, right, here we go. So Cam has just posted the grid for race 2. So we'll start from the back, Mike. In 20th place is Curly. In 19th is Oaken. Then we have Jamie. Then Bonyfish. Then Nightclear. Then Jess. Then Jason. Then Adagio. Then Kinney. Then Mertz. Then we got J. Cole, Joel Flats, Senna, Cam. What a lap from Cam, by the way. Putting himself up there. Then we got Josh, and then we got 4 P1 drivers. 5, sorry. Alex, Callum, Marco, Arnaud, and Craggy.
Yeah, and this is where I was saying about Adagio first race. Now, obviously, he got a fantastic result. He's going to be hoping now that he can just stick with these guys in front of him, because now all of the P2 and P1 drivers are now in front. So it's all going to be about staying within DRS, capitalizing on mistakes, and getting yourself further up the field. Cam, fantastic lap from Cam. I think he did pit at the end to go for the fastest lap, get himself a better position going into this race. So Cam also going to be looking to maybe have a big result by just staying consistent, staying with these guys in front, and capitalizing on any mistakes. Because we did see throughout the first race, the P1 drivers, they can make mistakes.
Yes, they can, and will, and have as well. You know, we've seen it happen in race 1 already. So let's see what race 2. Don't forget, Mike, it's random weather as well. We could get rain again.
Yeah, if it's rain, I think it is going to be... It's going to be incredibly difficult for the P4 drivers, incredibly difficult for the P3 drivers to keep up with P2 and P1 drivers. Of course, when it comes to the wet weather conditions, that's when the driver level comes out even more so than the dry conditions, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly that. Right, I'm just going to disconnect my headset because it's starting to die and I can charge it. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Okay, so while Colin is gone for the 30 seconds, of course, we'll quickly run you through the entire standings. Right now, going from 20th up to 1st. In 20th place at the moment is Jason from P3. In 19th is Cam, of course, P3 driver as well. Curly currently in 18th, a P4 driver, just behind Nightclear, another P4 driver. In 17th, Jamie in 16th, and then of course we got Ocon in 15th place. And then we have Bonniefish. We've got J. Cole in 14th, Bonniefish in 13th, Joel Flats in 12th, and Jess in 11th. Then, of course, we come on to the top 10 with Calm and Armed in 10th place, Senna in 9th. Then, of course, we got Kinney in 8th, Marco in 7th, Alex in 6th, Adagio in 5th, Josh Robin in 4th, Mert in 3rd, Arnold in 2nd, and of course Craggy topping the points standings at the moment from race 1, as Colin is now back.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm good. So we won't be far away now from starting race 2, Mike. Oh, go on. Let's have a bit of rain, is it? Let's spice it up with some wet weather. That might help some of the... go on.
I'd love changeable conditions in this race and a full wet race in the final race. That's what I would love.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we'll have a bit of that. But I tell you what, if race 2 is anything like race 1, we're going to have another belter. I'm really rooting for Adagio now. I'm so impressed with that race that he did. Kept it clean, good pace, annoyed a few of the P1 drivers as well. I'm sure that he's absolutely buzzing. I'm sure he didn't expect to be up that high, Mike, because, no offence, I didn't expect him to be up that high either.
No, I didn't expect Adagio to be up that high. I expected him to be in and around 10th place. I expected Adagio to be, just for the fact of, obviously, you never know what can happen. Obviously, some people could have bad races, like from P1 or P2. I was expecting Adagio and Bonnie to be the two P3 drivers that would take advantage of that more so than Jess or Jason, as an example. I was expecting better from Bonniefish, to be honest, in race 1.
Yeah, because Bonniefish, I rate that driver so highly. maybe he forgot to load his setup. Wouldn't be the first time a driver's done that. I did it around Australia, stupidly. So it's easily done. So for any drivers listening, please remember your setups. Because it ain't a fun track without a setup, this one, Mike.
Absolutely not. You need to have good enough wings for the middle sector, but you need to have low enough wings for the long straights where overtaking is going to be crucial. And especially you're going to need a good setup if it does rain. That's going to be crucial as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and how many of these drivers are going to have a wet weather setup? Oh, maybe not. And the drivers are now being told to ready up, Mike, so we'll be starting the race very, very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the interesting thing, I think, is going to be whether or not, if it does rain, obviously who has a wet setup or not. If they don't have a wet setup and they're running a dry setup on a wet track, could we see potential aquaplaning issues? Running the ride height a little bit too low. Like, maybe that could be an issue. You never know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that. Mike, listen to this. This is a message from Cam.
Yeah.
Might there be some wet stuff coming? It's looking a little dark on the horizon.
Oh, don't tease us. Don't tease us.
Don't tease us, Cam. Don't tease us. Has he got something special lined up? Knowing Cam, more than likely.
Cam. Don't tease us. We're not Arsenal fans by you, right? Don't tease us.
Oh, dear. Mike, have you got... it's okay. Yeah. Adagio's game crashed, unfortunately, so Cam's going to send him an invite. Hopefully we'll get him in. He's got the formation lap to do it, so he should be okay there. Commentator's curse. Yeah, you're probably right there, Nightclear. Yeah, probably cursed the poor sod.
Yeah. Hashtag blink Colin. I am absolutely innocent in all this. Absolutely innocent.
Mike, you're never innocent in anything.
That is absolutely outrageous from you, and how dare you?
Harsh but fair. Ooh, that does look a bit cloudy, Mike, but it's dry at the minute. They're on slicks for the time being, but those clouds do look dark. Ooh. Yes, Joel, it is a mandatory one stop in the wet. You don't need to. You do need to do at least one pit stop.
Cam. Don't tease us, Cam. Don't tease us with overcast.
It's going to be very interesting now to see how they get on at the end of the race. Now, our driver's going to go, do you know what? It's probably going to end, as Cam cooks something where it's going to rain at the end of the race. And are they going to plan that for their strategy? Because what they don't want to do, Mike, is come in the pit lane and then 4 laps later it rains.
Well, here's the thing as well, Cole. I mean, if it does rain, the right lap is going to be when everyone comes into the pits. And when you actually think about when that right lap is going to be, the double stack effect of not knowing who your teammate is going to be more apparent, especially now on this grid where the quicker drivers are now towards the front.
I saw rain. Yeah, it's definitely raining. And welcome to fellow P1 driver, KZR Dave. Hello, Dave. Welcome in, mate. Welcome to the stream. Unfortunately, not racing tonight. But Dave had a very good end of the season in P1. Got a couple of points as well, which is good. And he improved quite considerably. And he's only a young lad as well. He's not an old git like me. So he's got plenty to learn. And I think he's going to do very well in P1 next season. Very well.
Do you know what? I just thought of something that is heartbreak for Adagio. Because he had disconnected and now he has to rejoin, he's stuck with a default setup.
Oh, I never thought of that. Oh, yeah, he will be, won't he?
Yeah, he's going to be stuck with a default setup. Of course, the drivers right now are changing their setups and everything, and Adagio won't be able to do that. So Adagio is going to have a default setup for this race, and he's not going to have like an option on what default setup he gets either, because he could get a balanced setup, he could get a increased top speed setup, Or he could get a maximum top speed setup. Like, he has no control over it.
Oh, bugger. Yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah, that's not great for Adagio at all, is it? He's going to find it quite difficult. Will the rain help him a little bit? Possibly.
It will, but the straights are going to be a nightmare for him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he could be as slow as a rock down that straight. But we'll wait and see. We'll see how we get on. And here we are starting the formation lap. Now I'm going to go on board a driver mic because I thought I saw it raining on the loading screen. I can't see any rain yet, Mike. And
no.
Everyone, I believe, is starting on the... Yeah, they're all starting on dry compounder tyres. Alex! Clever lad. Alex has put hard compounder tyres on. So I think Alex is thinking, I'll stay on these until the rain comes. Storm's gone on softs, so he's going to want to pray that the rain comes very quick. Everyone else is on the mediums.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the rain that we did see in the pit lane, it didn't look like it was heavy rain enough for Inter. So it could be a case of it's raining, but it might not go to intermediates.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, they could be on the cusp.
Oh, here we go. It is raining. It's raining now as they come through Brussels.
Oh, yes, it is raining too, isn't it? Is this going to be the case of Canada, where we had a bit of rain but didn't really come to anything? This we'll have to wait and see. But it is starting to rain on the formation lap, Mike. I got to be honest, I wish there was a mechanic in the game, and I don't think you could do it, where you could come in the pit lane on the formation lap. I don't think that's a thing, is it, Mike? I don't think it is.
I don't believe it's a thing, but if you could do that, would you do that? Because of course, if I remember correctly, I mean, it's raining on the formation lap, but I think the weather does like go back to being dry for the race start, and at some point around their first lap, it will begin to rain again.
Yeah, Seb in the chat come up with a really good point. Hards. I mean, like he said, if the rain comes lap 8 or 9, he's okay. If he's on the softs, you're cooking, he says. And Storm, he's gone for the softs, so he's sitting very, very pretty at the minute.
He is, as Marco's been disqualified from the formation lap, which is not ideal for him. Adagio was going to be for him with having to try and go around with a default set. We're going to have to see how he gets on. Kinney's going to have to make up some positions. J. Cole starting from P10. Joel Flats up in the P9, by the way. And that's a great qualifying spot for him, as we are about to go to those 5 red lights and get this race underway. 5 red lights. And we are underway, and it looks like a very good start from the P1 drivers towards the front of the field once again.
Yeah, very, very good start by the P1 drivers. And it's a clean start at the back. We've got a couple of drivers in the grav. That's Storm. That's not what he wanted. Storm needed an absolute barnstorming couple of laps. And he's down to 19th.
Yeah, Alex getting through on Callum and Armed immediately. As a battle for the race lead between Arnold and Craggy. Look at that. Arnold looks to the inside, switches to the outside, unable to get a move done as Craggy holds the middle of the track. And that is just racing experience right there. You hold the middle and you keep them guessing on which way to go, as Arnold tries to hang it all the way around the outside. Is he going to be able to do so? I think he has. They're still side by side.
Yes, he has. Oh, what a move. What a move by the Belgian. Round the outside of Craggy, of all people. There's not many people who can overtake Craggy in DRS. Never mind round the outside. A brilliant, aggressive move by Arnold, and he takes the lead.
Yeah, and here we go. The rain is beginning to drop onto the track now. So the rain is here. But how long is it going to take for the rain to get strong enough to warrant the switch on to the intermediate tyres.
Yeah, it's going to take quite a while, I would have thought. But you never know. We'll have to wait and see. Alex, despite being on those hard combander tyres, he's doing very well at the minute. He's still keeping in touch with Callum up ahead. I was expecting him to have a poorer start than he did, so he's managed to survive that first lap. But he's not going to have the pace of the medium drivers behind us. We got a yellow flag in sector 3.
As DRS has been enabled, as Cam had a little look on Joel, unable to get through a P3 versus P4 driver. As you got Kinney, a P2 driver, looking around the outside of Cam came into turn 1 and can't get the run that Kinney needs. So Kinney's going to have to sit in behind. But surely, double dose of DRS right here as they come up the hill. They're going to get past Joel Flats, and I think then we're going to see, Cam trying to box Kinney in, but Kinney just finds a space, gets the job done on both of them.
Yeah, lovely move by Kinney there. Cleaned through.
And Josh and Adagio make contact in behind.
Yeah, Josh now as well, fighting with Storm. Storm.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. As Storm makes a bit of a mistake, hits the back of Adagio. Adagio down to 18th.
No, that was Josh more than Storm.
Oh, yeah,
right there.
Sorry. Yeah, it was Josh, yes. Oh, that was Josh.
Josh,
yeah,
of course,
the pink
was
car,
boxed.
yeah.
Josh was boxed in as Storm was on his inside, and of course he had Adagio directly in front of him. He was boxed in, and he tried to force himself some room, and of course contact was made, and that just led to Adagio's downfall. So it's going to be a heartbreaking race for Adagio. Of course, default setup for him, and now he's down towards the back of the field. He's still ahead of Bonnie for the show, so he can hold pride in that. As we got Mert and J. Cole battling it out right now, coming into the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, so obviously P1 rivals as well. Mert and J. Cole side by side. J. Cole just ahead at this point, but Mertz has got the inside into the turn 1 hairpin and has it done. So they're fighting very, very hard. Senna doing well. Alex still within DRS of Callum, despite being on those hard tyres. Shows the pace that he's got. But there's no one coming in for intermediates yet, Mike. Obviously, it's too dry. But is there anyone going to take a punt? Nightclear's in the pits, Mike. Is he going to take the punt for Inters? Yes, he is.
It's going to be very interesting. We've got Alex and Callum battling out through their comms, and of course Callum able to hold off Alex for the time being. But of course, the longer this race goes on, the more it is going to benefit the likes of the P1 drivers, because they're going to be able to build the gap to the slower drivers in behind. So if they do get held up in the pits slightly, they can maybe still stay ahead of the P2, P3 drivers they're chasing.
Yeah, exactly that. Arnaud's going to be very, very keen to make sure he enters that pit lane in that first position, because he knows he's not going to get held up by anyone in his pit box. So he's going to be really keen to keep hold of this lead before before these inters are due to come on these cars. Surely it's going to be only a couple of laps away now, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, looking at the field, the top 8 are all P1 drivers. P9 currently held by Kinney, a P2 driver. Then, of course, we got Cam K in P10, a P3 drivers. We got Joel and Josh, P2 versus P4. There's Josh, unable to get through, tried it around the outside. And Josh has to sit in behind Joel for another lap. Ocon, P4 driver in 13th. Jess, P3 driver in 14th. Curly and Jamie, both P4 drivers in 15th and 16th. Adagio in 17th, P3 driver. Then of course we got Storm and Bonnie both into the pits for presumably a set of intermediates, both P3 drivers. And of course Nightclear at the back, he is of course a P4 driver himself. As we got Callum and Alex battling out once again.
Oh, here we go. Oh, as they're side by side. Good driving. And Callum is through quite comfortably. Now, is he going to be able to close that gap to Craggy? Alex on those hard compound tyres. You feel as though the wetter this track gets, the worse Alex is going to find it on those harder compounds.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, if it doesn't go to Inters, let's just say it stays dries for the most part. So I'm looking at that gap now between Bonnie and Jamie as Senna has a big rear lock up there, and Mert had an opportunity. That gap between Bonnie and Jamie is not really coming down massively.
No, which suggests to me that it's not yet intermediate tyres. So they've gone for the punt, but it hasn't paid off at this moment in time. Senna having a much better race, up there in 6th place, slowly catching just outside of DRS. Oh, he's in the pit lane, Mike. Senna is in the pit lane. Surely this is for intermediate time.
It is, but Bonnie looked like he was losing time though to Curly and Jamie, which indicates that it's not the time for the switch yet. And of course, Bonnie versus Jamie and Curly, you have the pace advantage on equal tyres with Bonnie regardless. So see, if it was that change, as we see Alex and Callum once again battling out down the Kemmel Straight, and of course Alex now back up in the P4. To me, it just seems a little bit early, but Jess and J. Cole have also come in. Adagio's in as well. So maybe we know nothing.
Well, maybe, but I think, you know, us two and Seb in the chat, I think we're in agreement that it is too early. Don't forget, DRS has not been disabled yet either, and that's
Look at that.
A very good
Senna,
indicator.
We're going to have a look now at Senna versus Curly in this middle sector, because Senna, with the raw pace that Senna's got, he should be able to get past, but if he struggles to get past, then it is definitely way too early.
Well, he dispatches Curly quite. J. Cole right round side around No Name. That's a lovely manoeuvre from J. Cole. So maybe these Inters, maybe they're starting to come into their own now, Mike.
I'm not sure.
But we'll have to wait and see.
I'm not sure because obviously I think Senna and J. Cole, they just got better lines for the corners, so it's
maybe, yeah.
I mean, we'll see once Senna and Jamie, once Senna and J. Cole are able to dispatch a Jamie, we'll see what happens with Ocon up ahead. Of course, Craggy into the pits, Callum and Armed into the pits, Mert into the pits as well.
Yeah.
So the P1 drivers are in. Let's see what goes on here as Senna does get through now on Jamie. Up in the P12 he goes. I don't think Senna's going to get the undercut on anyone here. I think he's lost time.
Yeah, I would say he's lost time because he has been fighting drivers as well. So pretty much everyone's coming in now, Mike, to try and get on these intermediate tyres. They're finding the slicks a bit tricky, but DRS is still enabled, I believe. So, you know, it's still 6 of one, half a dozen of the other at this stage. Seb's saying this lap it looks like.
It's in this now. You're starting to see the puddles on track begin to form. It is now in this.
It certainly is, and Mark have made a huge mistake here. They are all over the shop. They are really struggling. Arnaud sliding all over the shop. Surely these guys are going to lose time to the Inter drivers behind now. Surely.
Well, look at that gap, right? 15.7 seconds, the gap to Cracky and behind.
Wow.
And they're still in the middle sector. So let's see how much this comes down by. It's come down by a 10th on the entry into Pouron. And look at it, it's still coming down as we head into Stavolo. And
oh!
Big
Arnaud, sorry,
moment.
Mike. That cost him a heap of time. And look at that gap now, 15.1.
Yeah, Craggy has called the right time to come into the pits. I think everyone else had pitted before Callum and I might have pitted just a lap too early. But we're going to see what happens now. Lap 6, everyone is made their pit stops. They're all going to be on intermediates. Craggy will have the race lead, I think, and he'll be comfortably out in the lead.
Yes, I would say so. Now, what's going to be interesting is how far Marco down the order. Let's see where they're going to...
I think they're going to come out just there in front of Callum and Armand, and yes, I is right there.
Oh, yeah.
And Arnold has actually lost out to Alex. I wonder if he had to share a pit box with Marco there.
Yeah, possibly, because Marco seems a lot further ahead than they were pitting. So, yeah, I think they might have had to double stack there. That would not have helped Arnold at all. Now, can he try and catch up to the guys ahead? And here we go. Now, this is the first time DRS is disabled, Mike. So any maneuvers now, it's got to be done on corner entry or corner exit. You're not going to get that DRS flap opening down the main straight.
Yeah, as we got Jess getting the job done on Joel, P3 versus P4 driver. Adagio doing a great job with our default setup, down in 14th at the moment. Of course, he had a fantastic first race. And the fact that he is still ahead of the likes of Bonifish and Storm in behind, of course, rivals there from P3 throughout the season, is a credit to Adagio's driving at the moment.
It really is. He's up there in 14th. He's made the right calls. So don't forget, his points all the way down to last. So every position matters for these drivers. Normal one-up rules is down to 12th, but for the All-Star race, it's points all the way down to last. Or as Jamie gets a 3-second time penalty. So he's going to be desperate to try and keep that 3 seconds away from Curly in 19th.
And this is where things are going to begin to get very interesting. Of course, as the grip falls away, as the track gets wetter and wetter, of course, the intermediates will provide some grip, but there's still going to be a bit of sliding going around. That's when we're going to start to see potential warnings and time penalties come out even more. So it's all going to be about just keeping it consistent, not picking up those penalties. As Ocon there, 3-second time penalty for him. And that is not ideal for him, because now he's going to get jumped by Storm in behind.
Now Marco's just got a 3-second time penalty, but look how close everyone is behind Marco. That's going to cost him 4 places at least at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we got Mert about just 1.2 off the back of this, and of course we got Jekyll around about 3 seconds off the back of Mert. Senna putting Jekyll under pressure. It's marinating up very nicely for the end of this race. As we're probably going to see drivers going for overtakes and trying to get the job done, just trying to gain as much points as possible, because the more points they gain in this race off the back of what they've done in the first race, the less they have to do in the final race.
Yeah, exactly that. Cam having a good race, so let's have a look at the drive. Cam up in 10th place, good result. Jess in 12th. Adagio now up in 13th. So they've dispatched Joel Flats. I think Joel must have made a mistake. Adagio trying to hunt down Jess.
Yeah, I think for Adagio, P12 was probably the highest he's going to be able to get, because I don't think he's going to catch up to the likes of Josh or Cam K. And Cam K on the back of Kinney. And Cam K is a bit of a wet weather specialist in the sense, because Cam K always, from my recollection, always does well in the wet.
Yeah, he always does really well in the rain, and I don't know why. I've tried to find out why. I don't think even Cam knows why, but he he loves the rain. He's very, very good at it, and he's showing it here now, where he got the pace on a P2 driver ahead of him, and not only a P2 driver, a P2 runner-up in the championship driver.
Yeah, and of course Cam K started the season out in P2, if I remember correctly, but of course dropped down to P3 midway through the season as Alex gets through on Marco, and the rain is proper coming down now. You can see the drops are getting quicker and quicker. It is very Welsh weather right now, Cole. It is very Welsh weather out there.
It is, isn't it? It's like home from home for Mike and I here tonight. Now, what's going to be interesting is now, if this turns to very heavy rain, now it's not worth pitting for wets, obviously, but it just makes life even more tricky for the drivers towards the end of the race.
And look at that, Adagio now on the back of the Jess. So maybe the default setup now starting to come back into favour for Adagio, as he will have the higher wings through the corners.
Yes, of course. Yeah, he's going to have potentially higher grip levels now. Just starting to struggle a little bit at this stage. Dropping back from Josh. Adagio, he hasn't got DRS, Mike. He's going to have to do this cleverly.
Yeah, as Kraki's just holding that advantage around 2.5 seconds ahead of Alex in behind Marco. I think Marco's going to look at these two races and think, I have thrown away a lot of points, because of course the 10-second time penalty from the first race, the 3-second time penalty in this race, it's just Marco's in the right positions, but a penalty is just costing him.
Yeah, that's 2 races in a row now where he thrown away points from, you must say, needless penalties. As Adagio now is very... Yes, is he going to have a look into the chicane, the final chicane? Yes, he is. Cleanly through on Jess. Lovely move by Adagio. And moves up into 12th place.
Yeah, and of course, Jess will be annoyed that Adagio has managed to get through on her, because, of course, in the 2 races where Jess almost picked up a race win, of course, at Hungary and Austria, Adagio was the driver that took that away from her. And of course, the battle between these two, it's always been Adagio that seems to take the spot away from Jess.
Yeah, I think Jess is probably sick to death of the gearbox of Adagio's car at this point. She seems to have seen a lot of it throughout the P3 season, and of course tonight as well. But Adagio showing good pace. Jess is now starting to keep up with him a little bit now. But I don't think she's going to have the pace for another fight back, but she's got a very comfortable 13th place.
Yeah, and that's going to be important for Jess, of course. Just consistent points on the board. Just all you got to do is just put in a good showing of yourself, really, and that's all you can hope for.
Exactly.
I mean, for Adagio, I think with a P12 finish, he's going to be in and around J. Cole, in and around the conversation for top 8 going into the final race.
Yeah, without a doubt. As we've got an ERT battle heading into the final lap between J. Cole and Senna. They'll be both keen to beat each other. At the moment, the best ERT driver is Arnaud. They're in 4th place.
Now, here's the thing. Will J. Cole move out the way for the red and white Arsenal-looking livery that's in behind him?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, is he gonna let's I don't know to that. Oh, as poor old Jamie gets a 3-second time penalty, that puts him up to 6 seconds, so that means he's down to 19th now behind Curly, so he's going to have to go for it really in the last lap and just try and gain an extra second out of Curly.
I'm not sure what's happened there. I think Senna's had a bit of a mistake there, and I think it's because I called his livery the Arsenal colours.
Yeah, I think
the ball's come out.
Yeah, Senna made a little 1.3 second gap now to J. Cole. But it's still very tight at the top. Arnaud probably not risking any manoeuvres on Marco. He knows he's going to jump him with his penalty anyway. Callum having a good race there up in P5, showing some good pace tonight.
Yeah, Callum doing a fantastic job in P5. He's going to jump up to P4. And obviously we're on the final lap of the race. Craggy has just been able to control the race after making the switch onto the Inters at the right time, getting the jump on the likes of Alex, Marco and Arnold in behind. As we got a yellow flag, someone's had a moment, and that's gonna... What's going on right here? Alex, Marco and Arnold all getting tangled up with each other. As Kraki will cross the line. I think Alex has run out of fuel.
Oh! Yeah, Alex ran out on the last chicane. Arnold, 2nd place. Callum gets 4th. Marco in 5th place. Mertz in 6th. Mertz having another good race there. J. Cole in 7th and Senna in 8th. But these P1 drivers, Mike, they're not infallible, are they? They're fakes.
No, Josh, same thing on the exit, the bus stop chicane. He ran out of fuel as well. So Josh also making a mistake with the fuel load. As we got Adagio now to the line, Adagio P12. Jess will come through in P13. Bonniefish will come through in P14. And then we got Storm that has managed to just about get through on Joel at the end to get P15 ahead of Joel in 16th. Ocon will come through in 17th, and Jamie's run out of fuel as well as he's coming across the line. This could cost him a spot with that penalty, as Jamie will come through in 18th, and yet Curly jumps ahead.
Oh, so he
1.1, yeah, I think that was the fuel.
Yeah, because he was over 6. He did actually gain that extra second on that final lap to keep that 18th, but running out of fuel cost him that position. So Jamie will be a bit gutted. But, you know, he is a P4 driver. He did beat Night Clear. Curly, I believe, is a P3 driver, so he did very well
P4.
to be...
P4.
Oh, he is P4. So they had a good race there. Craggy then wins the race by 3 seconds, Mike, but... So that's 2 wins in a row for Craggy, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. The top 8 all P1 drivers, the bottom 5 all P4 drivers, and then a nice little mix in between those tiers of P2 meshing with P3 drivers, and it's not both P2 drivers at the top of that. There's some P3 drivers in the mix.
Yeah, isn't that great to see though? This is what I love about these events. As Marco gets a fast lap for that particular race, most overtakes goes to Night Clear. J. Cole gets the cleanest driver and driver of the day, and of course our winner is J. Cole.
No, it's not. It's Craggy. Craggy has taken the victory here in race number 2 ahead of Arnold in P2, Alex P3, Callum in P4, Marco in P5, Mert in P6 with J. Cole P7, Senna P8, Cam K in P9, and Kinney rounding out the top 10. Outside of the top 10, we got Josh, Adagio, Jess, Bonniefish, Storm, Joel, Ocon, Curly, Jamie, and Night Clear. So yeah, the bottom 5 P4 drivers, and of course, we got Cam, who managed to beat both P2 drivers, and then of course behind the P2 drivers were the rest of the P3 drivers. So Cam, a big result there in P9.
Yeah, very, very, very good result from Cam there, showing his skill in the rain again. Does it every time it rains, to be fair to him. Now, race 3, Mike, is a reverse top 10, so that's going to be very interesting. And of course, this is our final race. Don't forget, the top 8 drivers from these 3 races will advance to Sunday's final.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how close it's going to be going into the final races. Adagio has left the session again, so hopefully Adagio will be able to get himself back in ASAP, because I think Adagio probably would have been a bit better off in that race, especially with the issues that Josh was having. If he had a proper setup on, I think the default setup in the dry cost him massively, and he didn't really gain what he wanted in the wet with that default setup. He did manage to get back through on Jess, but he couldn't get much more than that.
No, that's right. So there's quite a few drivers now to be quite brave in race 3. Some of them are going to need quite a few extra points to try and get into that top 8.
J. Cole being one of them.
Yeah, because he's on the cusp, isn't he? J. Cole needs a very good race. Senna, really, he needs a very, very good race to try and get into that top 8.
I think Callum also is on the cusp as well, because he had I think it was P10 in the first race, if I remember correctly, and obviously he got himself a P4, and that's similar to what Adagio has done. Obviously Adagio will be just a couple of points behind, but it's close. It's very close.
It is close. Yeah, it is very, very close. So Cam will hopefully actually give us the point standings before the race starts. I know he's got a lot to do, but let's keep our fingers crossed he manages to do that. And of course, we've got our reverse top 10, Mike. So it's going to be quite interesting. There's going to be a few drivers out of position comparative to their pace.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Kinney and I believe it is top 10 from the race 2 results, right? Or is it top 10 in standings? Because that's the big question right now.
Good question, and I don't know the answer. I will ask Cam. Let's have a look. That's a good question, Mike.
If it's from race 2, then you got Kinney and Cam K on the front row for the start of the final race.
Oh, that's tasty.
We got the 2Ks on the front row.
2Ks on the front row. So, Craggy saying reverse the whole grid. That would be bonkers, wouldn't it? So let's see what he comes back with regarding the reverse grid in race 3. But the drivers now, Mike, they're going to, they would have pretty much got used to the circuit now. Mm-hmm. They would have done 22 laps now. Now, is that going to help the P1 drivers, or do you think that will help the lower tier drivers?
I think that's going to help the P1 drivers more than anyone else because, of course, the P1 drivers, the more laps they do on the track, the more second nature it is to them when they're driving around. So it's going to be, it's going to be a very intriguing one as we got the points that have come through. And Colin, do you want to run us through the points?
Right, so in 20th place with 6 points is Night Clear. Then it's Storm with 8 points. Curly's also got 8 points, and so has Jamie. In 16th with 12 points is Oaken. Cam is 15th with 15 points. Joel Flats, 16 points in 14th place. In 13th place, try that again. In 13th place is Bonnie Fish with 17 points. In 12th place is Jess with 20 points. That's a very respectable level of points for 2 races there for Jess. Only 3 points ahead of Jess is P1 driver J. Cole in 11th place. In 10th place is Kinney with 26 points. In 9th place with 27 points, it's Senna. And our current top 8, who are going to be in the final, is Adagio, still in 8th place, Mike, with 27 points. Josh in 7th place with 29. Then we got Callum on 30 points. Marco on 32, Alex on 36, tied with Mertz. Second place is Arnard on 44 points, and our current leader, with a maximum of 50 points available, goes to Craggy.
Yeah, and I think Craggy, of course, he's pretty much punched his name into the race for tomorrow. So he's pretty much got himself certified because, of course, the gap between himself and Senna is, of course, 23 points and a maximum of 25 points available. And Craggy's not going to get less than 2 points in a race. We know Craggy too well for that. But
I mean, I'd eat my steering wheel if he gets less than 2 points.
Well, not only that, Senna would have to win the race, and then obviously that puts Adagio on the button as well, because Adagio, I think, would have to actually. Yeah, I think Adagio wouldn't gain enough points, if I remember correctly, because of the point system.
Yeah, true enough, yeah. And Adagio is back, so that's good news. So the message from Cam is that the reverse top 10 from race 2... the reverse top 10 is from race 2. So if I remember rightly, that's Cam Kinney, who will be on the front row, Mike, is that right?
Yep, that is Kinney on pole position with Cam K alongside in towards turn 1. Will we see more weather come into play now?
Oh, well, that we will have to wait and see. Is it going to be a dry rain, or is it going to be a bit of rain? I wonder what the drivers are thinking. So, any of the drivers in the chat, tell us what you want. Do you want full rain? Do you want it bone dry?
And another big thing to keep an eye on as well is what is going to happen in that battle for the tail end between the likes of Callum, Marco, Josh, Adagio, Senna, Kinney, J. Cole. there's a lot of drivers and very few spots available to try and get themselves into the top 8. And there's some P1 drivers that are underperforming right now. I mean, J. Cole being the main one, of course, the lowest of the P1 drivers, and currently beaten by P2's Kinney and P2's Josh, as well as P3's Adagio. So J. Cole having a bit of a nightmare at the moment.
Yeah, he needs a race of his life now, really, to try and get into the top 8. So there's 2 drivers, Senna and J. Cole, who are currently out of the final based on the current points we got. So they both need a very, very good result.
Yes, the good thing for Senna though is that all he has to do is finish ahead of Adagio to jump ahead of him.
Yeah, so it's going to be crucial for particularly Senna and J. Cole to finish ahead of Adagio. But hasn't Adagio had a great couple of races? Must admit, I am rooting for him to get in the final.
He's had a fantastic showing so far. Of course, race 1, what a result from him. And of course, race 2, he had to do that with a default setup. And obviously, he managed to finish P12 in the end, which was good points to keep himself in the conversation. But now, going into race number 3, he will be able to get himself a proper setup again, which I think is going to help him massively. Because as I said earlier on, I think the raw pace of drivers in P3, I think Adagio's got the most raw pace out of the P3 drivers.
Yes, I would say so. There's a couple of drivers out there as well, Mike, who just need a clean race. They don't need anything special. They just need a solid result. But there are some very quick drivers who are going to be desperate to make moves. And of course, we do have a reverse top 10, so it is going to be a bit of a muddled grid. Really, really interesting to see how Cam and Kinney get on leading down into turn 1, and how are they going to be able to keep the P1 boys behind them for the first couple of laps. Let's hope so.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Of course, Kinney needs a fantastic start because, of course, he's one of the drivers that is in the hunt for a top 8 result. He's currently on 26 points, 1 point behind Adagio in P8, and of course 3 points behind Josh in P7. So he needs to have a good launch, not lose time battling with Cam, try and pull a gap if possible to maximize his points in this race. And if you are Senna and J. Cole, you need to try and finish ahead of the likes of Josh and Adagio at the bare minimum, but you also got to be worried about Kinney starting on the front row.
Yeah, exactly that. So talking of the front row, Cam has released the grid for race 3. So in 20th place is Nightclear. In 19th is Jamie. Curly will start in 18th. Ocon will start in 17th. Joel will start in 16th. Then we got Jason, Bonyfish, Jess, Adagio, Josh, Craggy, Arnaud, Alex, Callum, Marco, Mert, J. Cole and Senna, and of course our front row that we've already talked about, Kinney and Cam.
This is going to be a very crucial first couple of laps between Kinney, Cam, Senna and J. Cole, because they're all fighting to get themselves into the top 8. And it's going to be crucial for Josh and Adagio as well, starting outside the top 10. They're going to have to come through the field against essentially a P1 grid in front of them.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how they, are they going to enjoy that? Or are they going to, a bit rabbit in the headlights? Let's wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Senna, all he needs to do is outscore Adagio and, of course, just outscore Josh by 2 points to put himself in there. Kinney needs to outscore Josh by 3 points to put himself in there. Probably the driver under big pressure to get a good start early on is going to be J. Cole, in my opinion, because, of course, he's on 23 points. It's 3 points behind Kinney, 6 points behind Josh. Big opportunity for him to try and get himself into that top 8. But he needs a flawless start and he needs to try and make sure he stays relatively close to the top end of the field.
Yes, exactly that. Now, Mike, some interesting news from our race director, Cam.
Mm-hmm.
Race control considered cancelling race 3 due to the weather. But the drivers threatened to revolt and said that the best way to dry the track is to have cars on it. So race control have said, have at it, boys and girl.
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are about to be in for a absolute crazy end to this race right now, because judging from that, I think I'm getting exactly what I wanted from the start of this stream, where I said mixed conditions for race 2 and the full wet race for race 3.
Absolutely. Mike is, I think you've worked it out to perfection. It's fallen exactly how you wish it. This final race is going to be a banger. I mean, how many of these drivers have driven Belgium with full wet, let's probably going to be full wet conditions. Is it going to be full wet tyres, Mike? Are we going to see a couple of drivers risk the inters? Because the wet weather tyres on this game is not brilliant. Let's see what they're going to decide to do first. Or is this just one big ploy from Cam and it's going to be bone sunshine? Bone sunshine? Bone dry track.
Cam, don't tease us now. Don't tease us, Cam. Don't tease us. You're putting the weather report, Cam. Don't tease us.
Let's see. So the drivers are now just readying up in the lobby, and we'll be heading to the circuit, and we'll be doing our formation lap.
This is also big for Cam as well, because of course Cam very good in the wet. J. Cole is also very handy in the wet as well. So we're going to see what happens there off the start. Senna, of course, is going to be a big one to keep an eye on as well, I think, early doors. It's going to be interesting to see what happens behind them with the likes of Craggy, Marco, Alex, Callum, Mert, all battling it out to try and get themselves through. And then behind that, you got the likes of Adagio and Josh just hoping that something happens so they can pick their way through and maybe try and hold on to a top 8 result.
Yeah, but I would suggest as well that Adagio is really happy with this, because the lower tier drivers have probably got a better chance in the rain, because there's more chance of mistakes for these P1 drivers. They wouldn't be so experienced and dominant in full wet conditions, I suspect, but I could be wrong.
Can I just say as well, Marco is going to be absolutely kicking himself if he falls out of the top 8 due to picking up another penalty in this race, because he's done it in the first 2 races. If he picks up another penalty in this race and it costs him a top 8, Marco is going to be fuming.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be tamping, isn't he? He ain't going to be happy at all. So that's probably Marco's target for this race. Don't make any silly mistakes and don't get any penalties. And look at that. I mean, they're better off with a boat.
Ladies and gentlemen, look at that. That is torrential stuff right there. And honestly, I think the drivers were right to say that get the cars out on the track, because it's wet, but it's not as bad. It's not the worst kind of conditions that we've seen in Formula One history. It's not. We've seen worse conditions when they've gone racing.
Yes. Funny enough, this reminds me of Belgium, 1998. This weather. Hopefully we won't have a similar pileup coming out of turn 1. Let's hope not, anyway.
I can't remember. Wasn't 98 also when Schumacher had to go at Coulthard now when he was trying to lap him?
That's right, yeah. So in the back of Coulthard when he was lapping Coulthard and stormed into the pit lane and did his best Mike Tyson impression on David Coulthard in the pit lane. A very entertaining race that was. It really had everything. Of course, it was Damon Hill taking the victory for Eddie Jordan, who sadly recently passed away, and gave Eddie Jordan his first race win in Formula One, and it was my forever memory for that race is watching Eddie Jordan jumping for joy, literally jumping for joy in the pit lane. An absolutely brilliant race. Are we going to get a surprise runner in this race, Mike? Because that would be great.
I hope so. I hope we get an absolute nail biter all the way down to the end. And it looks like with these conditions, it could be possible, especially with the drivers that are fighting for that top 8 result. Right now, early predictions. Who do you think is going to be going through to tomorrow's top 8, the final race of the All-Star event?
Right, mate, let's have a look at the standings. Right, so Craggy, I think's comfy. Same as Arnard, same as Mertz. I'm also going to say Alex has got a good chance. Marco, Callum, Josh, and Adagio, they're on the edge. But I'm going to go for a punt, and I'm going to say that Adagio makes it into tomorrow's final.
Okay.
Oh, Storm says he has his wet setup. Does that bode well for Jace down there and where you starting, Jason? Let's have a look. Let's remind ourselves where you are starting this race. You are starting in 15th place. So let's keep an eye out for Storm. See if he can come through the pack.
Okay, so my prediction, as we are about to start this formation lap, I think the top 6 all get through. I do think Josh drops out for I think Josh and Adagio unfortunately will drop out for Senna and Kinney. That's what I think is going to happen.
Right, Mike, look at the tyres. Look at the split in the tyres. We said it before the stream that some drivers might punt inters, some have gone on heavy wets. So we got our front row of Kinney and Cam, and they are on the intermediate tyres. The next 4 drivers of Senna, J. Cole, Mertz, and Marco, they're on the wets. Callum and Alex are on inters. Arnold's gone full wets. Craggy and Josh are on the inters. Adagio's gone for wets. Jess and Boney are on the inters. Storm and Joel are on wets, and Ocon, Curly, Jamie and Nightclear are on inters.
Now, we don't know if it's going to get heavier or if it's going to get lighter. If it does get lighter, then those that are starting on the inters at the start, they might suffer for the first couple of laps and then be able to make that pit stop and obviously come back into the race and once it starts to dry up a little bit. But if you're on the wet, you're going to have the advantage early on of just taking advantage of the wet conditions. If it does dry up and goes to inters, you can make your one and only pit stop without leaving the best tyre for the race conditions.
Yeah, that's very true. Obviously, the drivers are going to know more about weather conditions later on in the race. But I know a lot of drivers, even under full wet conditions, they prefer the intermediate tyres. They find that they get a bit more grip. So it's going to be interesting to see how the wet drivers perform. Or, as these intermediate, have they made a mistake? Is it too wet? Is there too much standing water? They're going to have, next to no grip. And are they going to start aquaplaning?
Potentially, only time will tell. It does look absolutely horrible out there on track, but it's going to be an interesting one. And Colin, considering this is the final one of the evening, I am going to let you take us through the race start.
Oh, lovely job. Right, so here we go then. So we got the driver grid. They're not going to want to disqualify themselves here. They're going to have to park the car themselves. If you do disqualify, don't forget, it does knock you back about a meter. And that is and poor old Adagio has done that very thing. So he's overrun his pit box. He's going to start a bit further back. So he's not going to get the start that he's going to want. But as Nightclear just joins the back of the grid, the red lights will start to come on. Here we go. 5 red lights. We are racing in Belgium. We head down into turn 1. Who gets the good start? Senna on the wets has an absolute blinder. He's in the lead. He dumps the 2 intermediate drivers and he's legging it away, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like the wet tyres are the tyre to be on early on. Adagio gets through on Josh as well. He's up in the P11 and on board with Marco there, as he's got to cut the corner to get through. So he's got both Callum and Kinney back through, which is not going to help his case because he's going to lose out a lot of speed, and Cam's gone through as well. And Marco going to try to outbrake, try and hang it around the outside of Cam, which he is able to do so. But Marco stuck in behind the 2 Indus runners, and look at that. Lovely amount of grip right there for Marco, and he's through on Kinney.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Arnaud now trying to go around the outside. Mike, at this stage, it does feel as though those wet tyres do have a little bit more grip. Callum is the highest place into driver at the minute. Kinney and Cam, they've plummeted down the order. Oh, we got Josh. Josh has had a mistake. He is at the back of the grid. He's 20th.
And that could be his chance of a top 8 over and done with right there. Because remember, Josh is inside the top 8 at the moment in 7th place. But you got Senna leading this race, so Senna is looking like he's going to jump in. Kinney is falling through the field, and Adagio has been able to just hold position right now. So Adagio and Kinney, I think they could be seeing each other very soon on track.
Yeah, it could be that. And Josh, to make matters worse, he does have front right wing end plate damage as well, so he's going to have chronic understeer in his pink and black car as well, so he's not going to be enjoying the next couple of laps. But that is disastrous. Oh, that's tight.
Cracky getting through on Kinney there. Fantastic overtake, and look at that, as you got Cam and Senna set the fastest lap of the race, and that is Marco into the pits.
Interesting call.
Yeah, very interesting. Maybe going straight onto the Indus to go to the end of the race. Maybe it is going to dry out, maybe.
Let's see what he puts on. He does indeed put the intermediates on.
Yeah, the Indus
and he's
are
changing
quicker.
his front wing, Mike. He's changing his front wing.
Yeah, I think the Indus are now quicker, because look at the Indus runners now versus the wet runners. I think the Indus are now slightly quicker, as Arnold gets through on Kinney, but Callum was closing in on J. Cole, and I think as we go through Lake Holmes, you're going to see the gap potentially begin to spread out between Arnold and Cracky. But it actually looks like Arnold's had a good line for this, so maybe not quite, but it is close in my opinion.
Yeah, it really is. But out in front at the minute, Senna, in his Polish flag inspired red and white car, is doing everything he needs to do to get himself into that top 8. He's leading away. Mertz is just a second behind, but Senna looking very comfortable in these conditions, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Senna has chosen the right strategy early on, and he is absolutely reaping the benefits of it. Looking at that gap between Josh and Marco down towards the back of the field, because of course Marco is under pressure as well. Remember, he's on 32 points. He's not completely out of this in terms of keeping himself safe in the top 8. Josh, though, I think has he's absolutely done himself in early on, and now he's got a whole lot of work to do to try and keep himself in that top 8. Senna is doing everything he can to get into the top 8. J. Cole being in P3 right now is absolutely fantastic for him. It's all going to matter when it comes to the pit stops, and if it's going to go to intermediate tyres.
Yeah, exactly that. Don't forget Marco as well had to change his front wing, so that would be around a 7-8 second pit stop for changing that front wing, as well as the 4 tyres. So he is not having the race that he wanted. Oh,
Adagio gets through on Cam K, so now Adagio, the highest running P3 driver, as you got Storm literally storming up behind these two, and fully intended in the stormy conditions, of course. Cam K is coming back, and Adagio, as you see up ahead, Alex and Kinney battling out.
yeah, and Cam has got past Adagio again. As they go side by side. just a little bit of contact, but Cam is through. Very good move on Adagio. Mike, I think you're right. I think this is where the intermediates now are starting to come into their own.
Yeah, potentially, but you see that, but Arnold's like pounding the back of Craggy, and Callum has lost quite a bit of time to J. Cole up ahead.
Yeah, there is starting to become big gaps now, Mike. You're right there. Look at. So Alex is 3 seconds behind Arnaud. Craggy's 2 seconds behind Callum. Callum is not gaining now on J. Cole like he was earlier on in the. Is it coming back to the wets? Maybe.
Possibly. We're gonna have to wait and see. We need a few more laps of information here. But Senna right now is on course to get himself into the top 8, as is J. Cole.
Yeah, they're doing very well at the minute, but Mertz is putting Senna under quite considerable amount of pressure here. Mertz is certainly the quickest driver on the grid, and they're... Oh, so that's quite early, only lap 4, but does he feel as though the intermediate tyres are now the way to go?
Well, let's have a look now. Arnold into the pits, and it's another set of full wet compound tyres on for Arnold.
Interesting. I was expected to see the intermediate tyres, but Arnold obviously feels more comfortable with these wet conditions as Marco does a 2-minute lap on those intermediates. Now that is what he needs to do, Mike. So that is half a second quicker than Mertz, and there's Josh
on the wets.
On the wets, doing a 2-minute 3. So your guess is as good as mine, which is the best tyre to be on now, Mike.
This is the issue, because that information right there of Marco setting the fastest lap, that would have been good information for the entire grid, but Josh immediately going a little bit quicker puts it back up in the air. But I think potentially, obviously, the more laps that you do, obviously a drier racing line is going to begin to form, and you can see that when you're on board with one of the drivers. You can see the racing line becoming more apparent as the laps go on. I think it is now potentially time to make that switch onto intermediates, because now look at this. Adagio now 1.8 off the back of Cam Cameron, and Callum and Armed is all over the back of J. Cole.
Yes, and Arnaud is also all over the back of Jamie, but crucially he cannot get past the P4 driver. He's really struggling. Jamie did very, very well. Arnaud got a run down the Camel Straight, but Jamie kept the lead.
Contact there, and J. Cole and Callum and Arm come into contact as Callum went around the outside of Blanchimont on J. Cole. They got kind of locked on the wheels, and they just kept hitting each other, and J. Cole into the wall, and I think potentially front wing damage for J. Cole.
It's huge front wing damage, Mike. That's going to really hurt his chances now. He needs to drive the best 6 laps he has ever done now. He's going to have a very long pit stop while they change that front wing. He's got the pace in these conditions. He's gone onto the intermediate tyres, but that has really hurt him, Mike.
Oh, and Adagio is at a double stack with someone, so Adagio has lost a bit of time in the pit lane as well.
So it's not going well for some of these drivers. They're getting a bit unfortunate, a bit unlucky. Let's see the pace now that J. Cole and Adagio have got on these intermediate tyres.
Arnold's going to look to get the move down here on Jamie down the inside into Lacombs, and that is a job done right there, as it looks like Marco's going to follow him through. Remember, Marco had to get a front wing change as well, so that shows that the Inters are the better tyre to be on. Arnold, unfortunately, will probably have to make another pit stop to get onto the right tyre, because I feel that potentially he's going to lose so much time towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the gap between him and Jamie. Jamie's like only just over a second behind him. Jamie being a P4 driver, doing brilliantly in these conditions, but it's not helping Arnaud's at all.
Adagio.
You're right, he's on the wrong tyre. Oh, Adagio's made a mistake, has he?
No, he's come up, he's disconnected.
Oh, no. Oh, such a shame. I think that's probably...
Are you able to get him back in?
I will certainly give it a go. I don't think I'm friends with Adagio, to be honest. I will double check. No, unfortunately, I'm not. Damn. Well, let's hope that he's got a backup invite, maybe, that he can get in. Such a shame for him. He was doing so well, and I think that's going to cost his top 8 now. I can't see him getting enough points to get in that top 8 now.
Well, I mean, this is what I'm thinking right now, because obviously, as we got Marco down the inside of Arnold, they're just showcasing that the Inters are the better tire to be on. This is the battle right now for the top 8, in my opinion. It is Kinney versus J. Cole. Of course, Kinney's still yet to make a pit stop. J. Cole has made his pit stop. But that is the battle right now. I think Senna has done... He's doing exactly what he needs to get himself that top 8. And with the issues that Josh and Adagio have had in this race, I don't think they're holding on to it. So I think now the battle's between J. Cole and Kinney.
Yeah, I think you're right. J. Cole needs to put the laps in of his life now. He's catching up with his ERT teammate Arnaud, who is really struggling on those wet tyres. Like you said, Mike, you could really see that racing lineup here now. It is certainly Inter's now. The wet drivers, they're going to really struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the wet drivers are, of course, Arnold and Josh. And I'm quickly going to check the standings, because I believe Arnold currently on 44 points. I think Arnold will remain safe inside the top 8. I think he will remain safe because of the fact that Josh and Adagio have had issues behind him. And I don't see him getting jumped by Jess, who's the next nearest behind that.
No, I don't think so. As Curly in what I must say is a One Hub inspired. I'm going for it, right? A One Hub inspired livery. It looks absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, he did have a bit of a spin. He's down in 19th. Joel's having a bit of a nightmare race. But he has boxed Curly yet to stop.
And I just saw Arnold there let J. Cole through and give him a little bit of a weave to say, sorry, mate, go ahead.
So J. Cole now, he's dispatched Arnold then. And, as Curly gets a 10-second time penalty and he's DNF'd. That's it's very disappointing to see that.
Hopefully,
odd decision when you get points for down to last, but Curly obviously had enough.
Yeah, if Curly is still in the lobby, I wonder if he's going to be able to invite Adagio, perhaps.
Yes, that would be good. Yes, if he could do that, that would be great.
As we got Senna getting through on Kinney. And remember, that even though it's a full wet race, the drivers still have to make a pit stop.
Yes, exactly that. So there's quite a few drivers yet to stop, Mike. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 drivers. So half the field have not stopped. Now, I'm hoping that they realise that they do need to stop. Fingers crossed they all do. Now, you will be disqualified from race 3 if do not pit. So any drivers listening, please make sure that you do pit as Callum does another fastest lap.
Yeah, as Alex immediately goes quicker. And of course that is showing the pace on these Inters. I mean, they're 7-lap-old Inters at this point as well. So it is showcasing the pace that they have. They do still need to come into the pits though, which is going to be crucial, as you're going to see Senna and Mert now eye up a move on Cam as Bonnie is into the pits, and that is good going there from Bonnie, making sure that he does get that pit stop out the way.
Yeah, so Bonnie Fish having quite a good race. This is probably his best race he's had tonight out of the 3. Another set of Inters.
Oh, look at that, as we got Mert and Senna battling out down the straight as they both tried to overtake Cam as well.
Oh, that That's very close. Senna now round the outside of Cam. He did jump Senna amongst all that battling, Mike.
Yeah, Senna through ahead now up in the P5. Ideal for him. Mert also through as well. And Mert now into the net race lead. Senna in the net P2, which is still going to be enough for him to get himself into the top 8. Kinney, though, I think because of how long he's left it, I think he might have thrown away his chances of a top 8 finish with J. Cole currently in P9 and around about 9.5 seconds behind.
Yes, so I think you're right there, Mike. So Kinney, I think he's left it too long on those intermediate tyres. Surely they're going to come in the pit lane now. Or, you know, are these drivers banking on a late safety car, Mike? But there's not going to be many laps left before that is not going to happen.
I'm quickly checking to see if you do have to make a pit stop, because Cam, of course, hasn't made a pit stop either.
No, true, Cam hasn't. A Storm retired. So Storm has crashed. Is this going to be a safety car, Mike?
Possibly. Let's have a little look. That looks like a retirement on track as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, retirement on track for Storm. Is this a safety car? I don't think so.
Jamie's left the session.
Oh, yeah, Jamie's left the session, so don't know what happened there. But I think we're okay. We're not, we're back under green flag conditions.
Yeah, Adagio in the chat saying he's out. It's no sense to get back in the race now. It's just heartbreak for him. He said, can anyone invite him? If you were able to just like give yourself actually, it's only 2 races. Would you be able to put your EA in the Discord chat now for him to quickly add you? And
yeah, sure. Let's see if we can get him in. Such a shame for him. He was doing so well. As Alex runs lead, he's got a 3-second time penalty. Mertz and Senna, they're not really catching these guys up ahead. A little bit, but considering they've got 4-lap fresher tyres, and Callum, I think, is in the pit lane. No, not yet. Callum, Alex, please remember. But the thing is, Callum's setting really fast laps. Probably doesn't feel the need to pit at this stage. He's probably thinking, the longer I stay out, the less overtaking I may have to do. But they've got to pit at the end of this lap, Mike, or they're done. They have to pit.
Yeah, they do have to pit. There's a lot of drivers that still yet to pit. Of course, one of them being Kinney. Marco, I think, is disconnected as well. He's ghosted on my screen as well. So I think we've had like a mass disconnection of some of the drivers. As Jamie's put in the Discord now, if he can get an invite.
Sorted. All done.
Lovely stuff.
So the main concern for myself now is, are these drivers gonna box at the end of this lap? They have to do it at the end of this lap, Mike, or they are disqualified from this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, if you're not back in your car at the end of this lap and your AI just continues on, then essentially it's not your fault, but you will end up not being able to come into the pits.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. I am going to go on board Callum, and I'm going to see if he does indeed come in the pit lane at the end of the bus stop chicane. Let's keep our fingers crossed that he does. And
yes,
he does, Mike. He is in the pit lane.
Alex,
so that is one
though.
driver. Alex carries on. Alex is going to get disqualified from this race. He is going to get no points.
Absolutely huge. Now, surely Cam comes into the pits. Surely, yeah, I was going to say, surely Cam comes into the pits. Kinney stays out.
Kinney is disqualified. Well, this is unbelievable. So Alex thinks he's going to go, and he's not. He's going to get disqualified.
Jess is in.
Jess is in, yeah. So the two drivers left to pit now is Nightclear and Oaken. But at this stage, Mike, Alex and Kinney have been disqualified from round 3.
Yeah, they have. And Adagio, has he managed to add you back at all yet?
Not yet that I see. Unfortunately, my friend requests come in very, very late. No, nothing yet.
Nightclear has gone soft. That is very bold.
That is brave beyond belief. That is brave beyond... Merch gets a 3-second time penalty, Mike. On the last couple of corners, really. That means that Callum's going to win this race. Senna, if he could gain half a second, he's going to be able to jump as well. Oh, as Callum makes a big mistake. Because
this is going to be so close.
The rain has stopped as well, Mike, so we're not far off dries at this point.
Yeah, and we still got Josh and Arnold out there on full wet compound tyres. Struggling as
God.
We come through. Alex is actually in the pit lane right now, but he's crossed the line before he's actually stopped, so I don't think that counts here, Alex. He's tried the Yano Opmia strategy.
As Alex wins the race by 5 seconds, Callum comes in. Well, Callum wins it because Alex is disqualified. So it's Callum victory, then Mertz in second, and Senna in third place. Now, is that gonna... So that's gonna help J. Cole and Senna get into the top 8, I would believe.
Yeah, as Arnold's AI, I think, has run out of fuel as well. So Adagio's AI might be able to jump Arnold's AI here. And he is as well, as he crosses the line.
Oh, yeah, it looks like he's got a puncture. A left rear puncture, and Adagio just pips him crossing the line.
Honestly, this is going to be interesting to see what happens with regards to the points by year. Because Kinney being disqualified means he's not going to be top 8. Senna and J. Cole have done enough to get themselves into the top 8.
Josh finished on 3 wheels as well, so he had a puncture towards the end of the race. Both wet weather drivers, or wet tyre drivers, sorry, they both had punctures at the end of the race. So, you know, that was showing that was the wrong tyre to be on, unfortunately. A strategic error from the two drivers there.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Adagio and Josh were able to gain enough points to jump ahead of Alex here.
Oh, could be, yeah, because he's going to get diddly squat from race 3. We'll try and stay on stream to see how quickly Cam can do the point system, and we shall wait and see.
Run you through
there we are, he's doing it now.
Alex, no pit stops, unfortunately disqualified from the race, so Callum with the victory, and Merton P2, and Senna P3. Cracky P4. No Kinney P6, unfortunately, did not make the pit stop. So J. Cole P5, Marco P6. P7 goes to Cam, Bonnie P8, Jess P9, and Josh running out the top 10. And 11th is Adagio. Then we got Arnold in 12th, Jamie 13th, Joel 14th, Nightclear 15th, 16th for Ocon, and then of course our 2 DNFers in Storm and Curly.
Very, very interested. So we'll just wait on a couple of minutes now as Cam will do the point system, and we'll find out, Mike, who our 8 finalists will be for tomorrow's race.
Yeah, I am having a look right now. Just I'm going back to the results at the end of the first race, just to have a look to see what the what P10 and P11 points wise was, and if that is enough to jump themselves ahead.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be close.
Oh, actually, I think they've done it. I think Alex not making his one pit stop has cost him a top 8.
Oh no, that would be massive. We will find out soon enough.
Oh, we are hanging on the edge of our seats by you because
I know, yeah. I'm just staring at the All-Star, waiting for, say, Cam typing. So we're just waiting for Cam now. Shouldn't take him too long. He's been very quick doing it, in all fairness to him.
Yeah, it's been quick maths here from Cam tonight. I mean, of course, for Alex and Kinney, if they had made their one stops, they would have been absolutely fine. I mean, Alex would have definitely been top 8. I think him not making that pit stop has cost him top 8 in all fairness. I think Kinney, he had the potential of getting himself top 8, especially with the issues of Josh and of Adagio in that race. So there was potential there for him to get himself into the top 8 as well.
You would say so, yeah. But wouldn't it be brilliant if we can get a driver not in P1 into the top 8 final?
I really hope Adagio has managed to sneak in there. I really hope he has.
We will... Cam is typing. Here we go. Right, here we go, Mike. I will read out 20 to 9, and you can read out the top 8. How about
that? That sounds like a absolute plan right
Actually, I will read out the bottom 10. You can read out the top 10.
Yep.
So,
no worries.
In 20th place on 14 points is Curly. In 19th place with 15 points is Storm. In 18th place with 15 points is Nightclear. 17th is Jamie with a very respectable 19 points. Okan in 16th with 20 points. Kinney down in 15th due to that disqualification with 26 points. Joel Flats in 14th with 26 points. Adagio, 31 points despite horrendous bad luck. In 12th place is Cam on 31 points. Bonyfish on 32 points in 11th. And Jess in the top 10. A fantastic performance from Jess to get 34 points.
Okay, so there we go. Jess in 10th place on 34 points. P9. 36 points for this person, who unfortunately made a crucial mistake in the final race, which has cost him a top 8 here. Alex in P9 and missing out. Alex misses out by 1 point, just eking his way into the top 8 is Marco on 37 points. Then 7th place is J. Cole on 40 points. Then we have Josh In sixth on 42 points. Senna climbed his way up to fifth on 47 points. Callum and Armed on 55 points gets himself fourth. Arnold on 56 in third. Then we have Mert on 58 points in second. And then topping the times is Craggy on 68 points. And he tops the table.
Wow. Fair play. So those are going to be our top 8 drivers that we're going to race tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So that's going to be an 18-minute qualifying session and a 25% race. It's going to be a blinder, Mike. I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an absolute blinder. I am confused at one thing, though. Hopefully Cam will be able to explain this quickly. Obviously, we know that Adagio disconnected at a point in the race. So I'm just wondering, because of course Adagio's AI finished directly behind Josh's AI. I don't think he makes potentially. I think potentially, like I don't think he makes the top 8 anyway. But is the points related to because of how early he disconnected? That's what I wanted to know. The same thing with Marco as well.
Yeah, good point. We'll have a chat with Cam about that. But yeah, that's a good point. But Josh, the only non-P1 driver making it into the top 8. Great performance by Josh.
Yeah, he just about sneaks through. Of course, Josh, I mean, the race, it didn't go particularly well for him over the course of like the races. Of course, race 2 and race 3, he really didn't have the best of performances, did he? So he just manages to scrape through. Marco, of course, just about scraping through as well. J. Cole left it late to just about get himself in there, as did Senna, but that is what P1 drivers do though. Once it is there on the line, they usually turn up to take their place.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, P1 drivers, they're showing their class. Alex, though, he's going to be very, very disappointed. You know, this is a lesson for the future. Never assume the rules. Always, you know, question it if you haven't seen it, you know? Never assume that you don't need a pit, or never assume a rule. It's always dangerous.
Yep, absolutely. So there we go. We got our top 8 ready for the All-Star race final tomorrow. Once again, run you through the top 8. It's going to be Craggy, Mert, Arnold, Callum, Senna, Josh, J. Cole, and Marco that are going to be here tomorrow for the All-Star finale. And Colin, I'm not going to lie, still my driver of the session, my driver of all 3 races, just because he was in the conversation all the way until his final disconnection, Adagio.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, Adagio for me. Absolutely brilliant performance. Just got unlucky, basically. Just got unfortunate.
Yep, the 2 disconnections. Of course, the disconnection in the second lobby, which meant he had to do that race with a default setup. The disconnection in the final lobby, where you would imagine, of course, he did have the gap on Josh. You would imagine him actually being able to get a few extra points, and he might have actually been able to get himself into the top 8 if that disconnection didn't happen. So, for me, Adagio does get the driver of night 1, let's say.
I have a controversial opinion for Cam, if you're listening.
Go on.
Commentators pick a driver to be the 9th driver. Oh, it's controversial, isn't it?
Well, technically, we both should have one. So, you know, we get 2 wildcards. Let's go.
Oh yeah. 2 wildcards. I'll have a chat with Cam. We'll see. We'll see if he. We'll see, because it's his baby, it's his show. But we'll see if he's happy that we can pick a driver to enter. Let's see.
What's called? He'll probably say that. No, this is why I make the rules.
Yeah.
And you 2 don't have a clue. But
harsh but fair.
Absolutely, absolutely fair, to be honest. But we'll run you through the sponsors and partners one more time before we wrap things up here tonight. Of course, our title sponsor at Delta.app. Of course, Next Level Racing, Sim Racing Setups. Of course, Pure Sim Gear, Vespertwin. Of course, Sim Grid as well. And last but not least, the Mental Health Foundations. But with that, call, that wraps up tonight. But we'll be back tomorrow for the final.
We will. See you all tomorrow, everyone.
Good night, everyone. And we'll catch you tomorrow.